My sister's text popped up on my phone before I'd even finished cleaning up the breakfast dishes her children had left all over my small apartment. Can you watch the kids this weekend while I rest? Jessica wrote, including a heart emoji like that somehow softened the blow. I stared at the message, surrounded by the familiar chaos of toys, crayons, mismatched socks, and school worksheets her kids had dragged over the night before. I'm Maya. I'm 26 years old, and while I work as a third grade teacher, I've spent the last 8 years functioning as something much closer to a full-time substitute mother for Jessica's 4 children. And now, after weeks of rumors and suspicious hints, she had finally announced her 5th pregnancy. Jessica is 3 years older than me, but somehow she's always been the one treated like the baby of the family, delicate, fragile, in need of constant support. The truth is, Jessica had mastered the role of the free spirit long ago, floating from relationship to relationship, leaving behind a trail of promises, excuses, and children whose fathers always disappeared the moment the responsibilities became real. I, on the other hand, was the dependable daughter, the one who studied hard, got a teaching degree, and made everyone proud, the one who could handle things. Apparently, that meant handling her life too. Her kids are 2, 4, 6, and 8. Sweet, funny, loving kids who deserve the stability Jessica never provided. They call me Mama Maya sometimes. At first, I thought it was cute. Now, I see it for what it is. Evidence of how deeply I had stepped into a role that was never supposed to be mine. I love them dearly, but because of Jessica's choices and my inability to say the smallest word in the English language, no, I'd missed out on promotions, dates, friendships, opportunities. I watched life happen from around the edges because I was always needed. My friends stopped asking me to go out because they already knew my answer. My coworkers joked that my second job must be babysitting. They didn't know how painfully true that was. The day Jessica announced her 5th pregnancy was a Sunday afternoon at our parents' house, the usual family dinner she never missed because it was the one time she could rely on free childcare. She walked in with that exaggerated, glowing smile she always used when she wanted attention. She placed both hands dramatically on her stomach, which was still completely flat, and said, "I have some exciting news. Baby number 5 is on the way." My parents exploded with joy. Mom clasped her hands like she'd just learned she won the lottery. Dad hugged Jessica and said, "We'll all pitch in. You're not alone." And then Jessica turned to me with that practiced, manipulative sweetness. "You'll help me, right, Maya? You're so good with them." It felt like a weight dropped directly onto my chest. This wasn't a question. This was an expectation written years ago and re-signed every day of my adult life. I asked quietly, "What about the father? Is he helping?" Jessica waved her hand like I'd asked about the weather. "Oh, you know how men are. Anyway, I'll need you a lot this time." Later, when our cousin Lisa arrived, Jessica announced cheerfully, "Maya is basically the kid's second mom. I don't know what I'd do without her." Lisa looked at me with concern, but Jessica didn't notice. That's when I saw the truth clearly. Jessica wasn't overwhelmed. She was comfortable. She had built her life around the assumption that I would always be her safety net. 2 weeks later, she proved it again. She showed up at my apartment without warning, pushing all 4 kids inside as if they were grocery bags instead of human beings. "Emergency," she gasped. "I have a doctor's appointment. I need you to watch them." She said she'd be back in 3 hours. She returned 6 hours later. I only learned from her Instagram story that her appointment had lasted 15 minutes, and she had spent the rest of the day at a spa with friends. Meanwhile, I had missed a crucial department meeting, the same meeting where they were choosing the new curriculum coordinator, the position I'd worked 3 years for. My principal, Mrs. Henderson, pulled me aside the next day and said gently, "Maya, I'm worried. You're missing too much. You're talented, but you need to prioritize your career." I wanted to explain everything, but how do you say out loud that your older sister treats you like her unpaid nanny? Every Sunday dinner afterward became a guilt trip. My mom said, "Jessica needs us now more than ever." Dad added, "Family helps each other. You're young. You have time for your own life later." But my life wasn't something I could put in a drawer until Jessica felt like growing up. The breaking point came when Jessica handed me her baby registry list. She said, "I need you to buy the crib and car seat, and you have to come to all my appointments. The doctor says I'm high risk because of stress." "What stress?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. Jessica crossed her arms. "You don't know how hard it is being a single mom? I swear, sometimes you're so insensitive." That night, I went through my receipts. My jaw dropped. I had spent over $15,000 on her children in 8 years. Clothes, school supplies, birthday gifts, emergency groceries, sports fees, doctor visit copays. And that didn't even include the thousands of hours I'd given up for free childcare. That night, something shifted inside me. My friend David, who had asked me out 3 separate times, finally said, "I like you, Maya, but it feels like you're raising someone else's family." I couldn't argue with him. I was 26 with the exhaustion of a 45-year-old mother of 4, except I'd never chosen this. What my family didn't know was that I'd started documenting everything: photos, notes, screenshots, timestamps. I'd also begun seeing a therapist, Dr. Rodriguez, who explained parentification and said something that cracked through years of guilt. You are not responsible for fixing the consequences of your sister's choices. Yet Jessica's demands only grew. She announced one day that she expected me to take all 4 kids during her labor and recovery. And then, with a casual arrogance that made my skin crawl, she told another cousin, "Maya basically co-parents with me. She's just better with the kids than I am." Better? I wasn't trying to be better. I was drowning. The final straw came when I overheard her laughing on the phone saying, "Maya doesn't have a life anyway. She loves playing mommy. It works perfectly." Playing mommy? As if I hadn't sacrificed every relationship, opportunity, and moment of rest for years? That was the night I decided I was done. The confrontation happened at Jessica's baby shower, a shower she planned, but expected me to organize, decorate, and pay for. I walked in with a folder of documents and a spine I'd been growing for months. When she saw me, she spread her arms dramatically. "There's my co-parent," she announced to the room. "Maya's gonna help with this baby too. I seriously don't know what I'd do without her." I stepped forward. "Actually, Jessica, you're going to have to figure that out, because I'm done." The room froze. Jessica blinked. Done with what? With raising children who aren't mine. She laughed, confused. "Stop joking. You love the kids." "I do love them, but I'm their aunt, not their mother." Jessica's face hardened. "You're abandoning me when I need you most?" "No," I said calmly. "I'm placing boundaries, something I should have done 8 years ago." I opened my folder. "I've spent $15,437 on your children. I've missed promotions, dates, opportunities, so you could go to parties and spa days while telling everyone you were overwhelmed." Mom stood up furious. "Maya, sit down. Jessica needs help." I finally looked her in the eyes. She needs to be a mother, and you need to stop enabling her. Jessica burst into loud, dramatic sobs. "The kids will be devastated. You're breaking our family." I shook my head. "I'm not breaking anything. I'm stepping out of the role you forced me into." Later that evening, I sat with my parents privately and laid everything out. What parentification was, how their favoritism had harmed both Jessica and me, and how I was done being the solution to problems I didn't create. From that day forward, I visited the kids twice a month, like a normal aunt. Not a parent, not a crutch, not a savior. 6 months later, my life was almost unrecognizable. I got the curriculum coordinator position. I started dating again. My apartment was quiet, peaceful. The kids adjusted. They now saw me as Aunt Maya, not their second mom. We baked cookies, played at the park, watched movies. Genuine bonding, not survival. Jessica struggled, But that was the point. For the first time in her life, she had to be a parent. Some relatives judged me, but others whispered that they admired what I'd done. For the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. If you've ever had to choose yourself after years of being the family safety net, know this. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are love. For yourself, for the kids, for the future. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop helping in a way that hurts everyone. Your life matters too.